All returns are subject to inspection by Tire Rack returns specialist and are accepted within 30 days of delivery. Only unused product that has not been driven and is not damaged. I can't believe I'm buying more tires. I thought the reason I built that tire shaver was to save tires. Geez. There it is, 205/50/15. You know, I'm curious. Tire shaving now available at Tire Rack. Did you see that, Tire Rack? You didn't even ask and I informed all my viewers about your tire shaving service. Maybe send some love back my way. I mean, really, my viewers technically don't even need me anymore. Welcome back to number 36. At the end of my last video, I said I ruined a tire with my shaver. This tire. If you haven't seen that video, there's a link down in the description, or possibly up here if I was able to figure out how that's done. But one of my viewers from the last video pointed something out. That heavy, unusable at the track, a Merrimack shaver cuts the tread using a pantograph. It's a pattern you load into the machine and it produces the correct profile cut for the tire. The shaver I built is kind of junk because it won't cut profiles. I have to interject for a moment, number 36. I was poking around online again and I noticed this $10,000 model can only cut straight or up to 5 degrees of camber. Your shaver can do all that as well. So maybe you shouldn't be so hard on yourself? Okay, please continue. I'm not going to restart the build from scratch because we have options. The obvious one is to add CNC to the shaver. I could just hit go and the tire will shave itself. But I have some issues with doing that. I mean, it would be cool as shit. I'm secretly trying to figure out how to fight the robots with my robots in the near future. When the rise of artificial intelligence. You know what, I'll fast forward through this 10 minutes of me trying to explain tire profiles. It's just not that important. The short of it is the tire we must use in our race series is shaped more like a trailer tire, less like a nice flat and grippy F1 tire. The $10,000 tire shaver I just showed earlier cuts flat profile tires, while the shaver I have needs to cut rounded profiles. I can't believe it took me this long to figure that out. Sometimes I could be so ignorant. This is why I've been told to run my tires around 30 psi, so they flatten out when squashed against the road. Okay, now on with the show. After some more research, I decided on a rather simple modification to my tire shaver, where it will cut profiles, and still be lightweight and portable. I'm excited to show this to you, so let's get started. Before we start the modification, I wanted to show you this simplified model I spent about 30 seconds making. The idea is simple, but I did not design the original shaver for this, so when it's done, it will look odd, out of place, unattractive. Imagine the strip of wood at the bottom of the screen as the mini mill table, and as I advance the cutter across the tire, the mini mill table will be pushed away from the tire. I need to do some calculations, but the goal is to only move about 1/4 of an inch as the cutter moves 9 inches across the tread. Okay, let's cue the modification montage. Montage, montage, montage. Listen, I'm so sorry about that montage. I got really bored while making the modifications to my shaver. I figured I would try to bring you something more entertaining, but that was an absolute dumpster fire. Anyways, the Shaver 2.0 is done. It can convert from a flat profile cutter to a rounded profile cutter. And it will even cut a rounded camber profile as well. It's crazy. I'll explain the camber part a little bit later maybe. Listen, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm going off my gut instinct right now. I have no idea about how to properly shave tires. I mean, I almost lost my finger in a grinder earlier. So let's take a look at what happened to this rounded profile tire I cut with the straight profile cutter. Yeah, it took all the rubber away from the middle and left the outsides untouched. Easy enough to see. Listen, I simply like to make things and pretend to be a scientist, and normally hysterical things happen to me while I'm trying to do this stuff. And I thought it would be best to catch my death on camera, so at least my life can serve as a warning to others. That's the reason I started doing all this YouTube stuff, to save lives. So please subscribe so I can reach the people who need it the most. But we are about to cut this tire again, and this time all the rubber will be gone. I mean, evenly cut, but that means all the rubber will be gone. But at least I will know a little bit better of how this works before I try this on a brand new fresh tire. The conversion is super simple. You disassemble the X-axis saddle traverse crank. Oh, wait, okay, put that back together. Next, we will install the mill table extension bar. Listen, I don't know what any of these parts are really called. I'm just going with it. It goes on super easy, and it only goes on one way, the correct way. In the next step, we will install the not a step part. You know what this needs? There we go. That's much easier than building extra support. Maybe if this actually works, I'll brace it a little bit better. Okay, now you want to install the right and left radius parallel bars. Depending on what hole you choose to use, you can change the height of the arc from 1/8 inch to 3/8 over a distance of 9 inches. 9 inches is how wide my tire is. Now, those numbers are only important for this tire size. I'm sure somebody here knows Excel well enough to generate a chart for the different widths of tire. I couldn't figure it out. The widest tire we can cut with this machine is 14 inches, and the longest radius we can get out of the configuration is 46 inches. The shortest is around 30 inches. Anyone else getting bored? Let's shave this tire! Oh wait, now you can remove the crank. Make sure to take care of storing that little key somewhere. It's tiny and these sorts of things disappear off the face of the earth if not properly locked away. I made this bracket that gives you some X-axis movement back. I actually love this feature. The last thing is to install 2 springs under the table. They aren't really necessary, just seemed like a good idea to make sure the table is always loaded. Jeez, why does everything that goes flying across the shop head for the nicest car? I can see somebody's comment right now. Hey, number 36, remember that axle you messed up and it caused the tire to sit off center in the cutter? Your profile will be cambered. Well, check this out. I was legitimately worried I'd have to turn a new axle, but then finally this dawned on me. Okay, that's everything, let's shave. One more thing, sorry. I got a comment below from a concerned gentleman. He noticed in my last video the tire had a little bit of a wobble as it spun. I tried to figure out if something in my setup was off, but then I remembered this rim has gone through absolute hell. In fact, this is his brother. So if you don't want to cut a hop into the tire, make sure your rims are true. And make sure the tire is hot, fresh off the track. When your car sits, the tire loses its rounded shape. Driving on it will straighten that out. All right, proceed.
Well, I might have made that last segment a little bit more epic than it needed to be. It's just me shaving a worthless tire, but to my eye, the shaver works better than I expected, and I do believe the profile looks even across the tire. I'm tempted to shave the tires on my race car, but I did tell my race buddies I would only shave to rescue a set of tires. The sad part is I've already replaced the tire that inspired me to build the shaver in the first place, because it took me way too long to edit this mini-series. But this was my first real attempt at making YouTube content, and I'm getting faster. There are several things I would do differently if I were to make another one, like add bushings to the pivot joints. The soft aluminum will wallow out over time. I would like to also make another axle that uses a universal hub, but one day I'll go ahead and CNC this bad boy. If you'd like to see that, leave a comment below. I'll be checking. I think in my next episode, I want to test out a way to balance a car without using expensive coilovers. I'm calling it Poor Man Track Car Balancing. I'm still working on the title, but it'll be something like that. This will be more of an experiment. According to people on forums, my idea won't work at all, but it'd be a lot cooler if it did, and could save some people a lot of cash. I mean, I've never read false information on car forums before. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me while I made something I know nothing about. It was fun. There will be more. Maybe this inspired you to make a track day shaver, and if you do, please let me know down below. I would love to see it. Or if you see a glaring issue with my shaver, let's talk about it. The last thing, I want to avoid making you watch commercials on my videos. Your subscription helps me attract sponsorships. And if you're already subscribed, please share my videos. Well, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching.